Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Montage, a South Korean thriller from 2013. 15 years after her daughter's kidnapping and murder, Ha-kyung is still searching for the murderer. With the statute of limitations up in 5 days, Ha is on the hunt for justice. Meanwhile, another young girl is kidnapped with the same modus operandi as the earlier crime. So the cops work to find this new criminal and to also determine if there is a connection to the previous one. Now, murder mystery thrillers that reference the Korean 15-year statute of limitations for murder already exists in contemporary Korean film. Confession of Murder is a notable one that used that angle as an important element to its story, and the recent K-drama Signal used it as well. It's an effective dramatic tool because the protagonists are under a time limit that is almost up. And if they don't find the criminal before the statute of limitations expires, then the criminal cannot be prosecuted for that crime ever. So it automatically creates a sense of urgency. In cases where a statute of limitations does not exist, you can always hold out hope that some other detective or person in the future will catch the bad guy if you don't. But not in this case, because the criminal is guaranteed to get away with it if the protagonists fail to catch him or her soon. So even though this plot device has been used previously, Montage does a fantastic job of implementing the actual concept and using it in different ways. During the opening half, this movie feels like a typical crime thriller. Pretty conventional stuff. We get some investigation, some foot chases, some character moments, etc. It's good, but nothing mind-blowing. Then, somewhere near the midpoint, it starts to unveil its secrets, and at that point, the story becomes pretty fascinating. One of the highlight scenes for me personally involves the main detective who is analyzing a piece of evidence at one point in the film. I won't tell you what it is because I want to avoid spoilers. What I will say is that the revelation associated with that is complicated, it's nuanced, it's unpredictable, and it's very well written. The script for Montage is solid. The ending is also very different from most thrillers out there. I don't think I've ever seen an ending quite like this one before. At least there's not one that immediately comes to mind. So basically, the entire second half of this movie is what makes it a must-see. It's really good, and it makes the film memorable. And better yet, you'll think about it after the movie ends, which is always a good thing. Now, the other thing I appreciate is that both the main protagonists and the villain are pretty intelligent. The main cop goes through the evidence systematically and fairly quickly, but the villain does a good job of not leaving evidence, or maybe intentionally leaving some evidence to mislead the investigation. This is all good stuff. Now, one problem I had with this movie is that some of the supporting characters were basically morons. And this includes some of the other cops that are working on the case. It's not as bad as some other Korean films in that regard, but it's still there. It is still there. As is typical of this kind of Korean film, the acting is impressive. Jung-hwa is the main actress. This is one of her better performances, in my opinion. Sang-kyung Kim is the male lead. You'll recognize him from Memories of Murder. He's really good in Montage as well. And then we have Hee Bong-jo, plays one of the side cops. I became a big fan of this guy after watching Midnight Ballad for Ghost Theater way back in the day, so I'm always happy to see him pop up in movies. He's a good, side character actor for sure. Direction in Montage is top-notch. Pacing is efficient. This movie's 2 hours long, but you don't really feel it. It keeps moving. That's good. One last observation that I have is in regard to the violence. This movie is not very violent at all, really. It's more suspense and mystery driven. So if you're someone who hates graphic violence in their thrillers, you'll be perfectly fine watching this movie. So just keep that in mind. So in a nutshell, Montage should be a high priority for fans of Korean thrillers. It's available on Amazon Instant in the United States. And as always, we'll see you next time.